Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you to an all-new edition of War Week Radio. Guys, we're being joined right now. Well, first of all, before we introduce our featured guest, we do have to remind everyone that this show is brought to you by thefightsaga.com. Guys, for all the latest boxing news, please go visit fightsaga.com on the daily. But guys, this wouldn't be a big fight review and analysis without the counsel of our very good friend, 5-decade fight trainer, Mr. James Gogue. James, how the heck are you, brother, this afternoon?
Hey, Joe, good fights this past weekend. Haney and Linares was a good little scrap. And, of course, first ballot Hall of Famer, the Filipino Flash, spectacular knockout, destroying Obali. That was what do you call it? That cemented his, place in the Hall of Fame, knocking out Obali the way he did. Oh, he looked beautiful that Saturday night.
Absolutely. And, and we're going to talk about that more in the back half of the show, but you couldn't help feel good for the Filipino Flash. I mean, everything that he's been through, and, and I became good friends with both he and his wife, Rachel, over a decade ago, before even one fight of the year. Just everything that he's been through with all the different promoters that he's worked with. And to see him get this at age 38 when after everyone counted him out, this couldn't happen to a better guy in the industry.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? We talked about it before, I think, on one of the shows. I vividly remember him, Andre Ward, Robert Guerrero, when they were kids coming up in the amateurs in the Northern California Boxing Association. Because, that's when I used to live in California. Back then.
Nonito's from the Frisco area. That's right.
Yeah, the Bay Area. I think San Leandro.
Yep.
And it's kind of funny, Joe. One time when Guillermo Jordan won the title back in, I think, 2000. I was visiting Sacramento because I worked with Guillermo for his first 18 pro fights and last 2 or 3 years in his amateur career. And when he won the title, I was living in Houston, so I decided to go back home just to visit friends in the Bay Area. And I, decided to go see Guillermo because he just won the title. I say, hey, Guillermo, there's two guys, the Donaire brothers. He didn't know who they were. I go, they're top amateurs, man. I go, you want to get
Glenn? Yeah,
Nonito and his brother Glenn. I go, hey, you want to get some sparring for them? I want to see what they're about. He goes, yeah. So I talked to his dad. And they were thrilled to come because they never got to spar a world champion. And so what happened was I put him in there with them and with the Guillermo. And what happened was I remember right off the bat I noticed Nonito was the better fighter. He was a more athletic, more talented, more fluid than his brother Glenn, who was more of a plotter, straight ahead plotter.
Yep.
He didn't have that athletic, that natural athletic gifts that Nonito had. So right then and there, I said, if he's going to be the better of the two. He has a higher ceiling and everything. So, but God, that was 21 years ago.
Yep.
Before they turned pro, I think.
Do you remember when Glenn in the Olympics stayed in the ring because he boycotted he was refuting the decision by the judges?
Valoria. To Brian Valoria.
To Brian Valoria, that's right.
Yeah.
But I
don't know if it was Glenn. I think Nonito.
No, it was
They
Glenn.
both fought Brian. They both fought Brian Valoria back to back.
Yeah, Glenn was so disgusted with the decision, he stayed in the ring well after they made the decision and everyone left, and he was still sitting in the center of the ring, boycotting that decision.
Yeah, because Nonito gave his. Oh, that was a close fight. Him and Brian Valoria. Nonito.
Excellent.
It was an excellent close fight. Then Glenn's fight, it was pretty damn close too. But Brian Valoria, he was the he was, what do you call it? You know what I mean? He was already in with USA Boxing, the politics.
That's right.
These were these guys were new to the USA Boxing. And you know what I mean? When you're upcoming, you're new to the scene and not established, they're not going to give them they're not going to give them close decisions. The judges aren't. No way.
Yeah, I tell you what, it's amazing though. Can you believe Nonito Donaire is now 38 years old? Well, that is something.
Yeah.
Well, that is something.
Unbelievable career. Yeah.
Oh, I tell you what.
Yeah.
So congratulations to Nonito. We're going to talk more about him in the back half of the show, but Gogue, it's time to get your thoughts on the big one that happened on DAZN this past Saturday night from the Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas, Nevada. Devin Haney gets the unanimous decision in 12 rounds over Jorge Linares with scores of 116-112 twice and 115-113. Before we get knee deep into this, Gogue, your thoughts, because you told us last week, you said, you know what, it's impossible to bet against the young kid, the current champ. He's never lost. He's an athletic specimen, but you had this feeling that we were going to see him suffer some kind of adversity. Well, did it play out as you thought it would?
When he did, you know what? Don Chargan always told me, when you fight a veteran and you're a young kid coming up, if you don't take him out early, within 5 rounds, in the back half of the fight, they're going to give you problems. You can see when I analyzed that fight last week, I told you the key was Haney's jab.
Yep.
Just being himself, working his jab. And that's what he did. He used his jab proficiently. First 9 rounds, I think, controlling the action. Linares, golly. When you're getting hit by that many jabs, from round 1 and you ain't made that adjustment in round 8, Jesus, man. I mean, that means you haven't prepared how to take away a kid's best weapon, his jab. Yep. Usually by, countering it. Okay. Yep. And there's many ways you could counter a jab, Joe. Okay. There's many ways, if you prepare. And God dog, Linares, by the 3rd, 4th rounds, his eyes should have been adjusted to that jab. And he should have been, adjusted to the speed of that jab. And he should have been able to, a veteran like himself, he should have made that adjustment and countered that jab. Okay, take it away. See, once you take away that jab by countering it effectively, Haney's going to be hesitant in using it. Okay, and to me, Haney, like I said last week, everything comes off that jab. Yep. And I didn't even analyze that fight, Joe, when we talked about it last week. But I've seen him fight enough. I know that, he's when you got an athletic fighter who's physically talented, they usually like to work behind that jab. Okay. The sweet science of boxing, hitting, and not getting hit, starts with that jab. Footwork, working that jab. And Linares, Jesus, round after round after round, he kept on getting hit by that jab. Didn't make that adjustment. I'm surprised. He's a damn veteran. He should have been timing that jab and going right over it, okay? Because when Haney was throwing his jab, he'd bring his left hand low. Right off the bat, I would have countered it with the right hand right over the top. You know what I mean? Yep. Just to take away that damn jab and everything, man. Or just time it. When you have a sense he's throwing that jab, slip to the outside of the jab and counter with the right hand right over the top. There's many ways, Joe. But like I said, if you're not trained or prepared to neutralize that jab, you're not going to do it in the fight. And I could see, I don't know, his brother trained him, so I'm wondering, what does that mean? What does that mean? That means he just got him in shape, okay? Yep. So, but anyway, that was it. He gave him back half of the fight. Haney started slowing down, and he got caught. He buzzed him in I think the 10th round and everything. Yeah, had his leg wobbly and everything. So. Well, yeah. Well, let me ask you this, because it's obvious that Haney, it was just rinse and repeat for him in the first 8 rounds. He worked behind that brilliant, educated jab of his, throw it in sporadic intervals. Yeah.
basically, and limiting the window of opportunity to Jorge Linares by only throwing one or maybe two jabs at a time. He never really put together any combinations to give him any, well, big opening. And with the hand speed of Haney and the sporadic intervals, yeah, it was really freezing. It was really, keeping Linares in check, so to speak. But in round 9, you saw him start to fight Jorge Linares in the pocket, and you saw some of the steam. His punches weren't as crisp. Now, during camp, it's been widely publicized that he's been working with Victor Conti as well as Remy Corkamy, two renowned strength and conditioning and nutritionists. So what happened? Why did he start to run out of steam? Is it because either he just doesn't know how to relax yet, Gogue, or is he outgrowing the 135-pound weight division? Your thoughts on why he slowed down, had some of the steam taken off his punches, and decided to fight Jorge Linares in the pocket in 9 and 10?
Could be a combination of both those factors. Maybe he's, hard. Maybe it's hard for him to make weight. Hey, Joe, look, he don't have no experience, okay, going these tough rounds.
Yeah.
Okay. He doesn't have an experience going tough rounds, so that has a lot to do with it, okay? You got to learn how to relax, Joe. I mean, learning how to relax is, it comes from experience. And this was his, first baptism fire under, first moment, where he experienced adversity. I call it with a baptism under fire moment. Yeah. So, combination, like I said, Joe, he's got to learn how to relax because he is kind of tight. You know what I mean? You can see, he puts a lot of energy into that jab, into his punches and everything. Going into the back half of the fight, you do that. You do that early on, going towards the back of the fight. If you waste a lot of energy, you ain't gonna, you're not gonna finish strong. In the championship rounds, especially. So it's experience, Joe. It was a good learning experience from him. My only concern, like I said, a lot of fans, a lot of Twitter guys I got in an argument with, they were saying, well, hey, it's better to play it safe and get the win and everything. I said, well, look, man, if you're touted as the next superstar, look, you gotta close the show, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you gotta close the fucking show, and you gotta, getting a spectacular knockout would have cemented his status as a future superstar. The way he finished,
oh boy,
on survival mode, Joe, it didn't look good, man. That didn't look to me like a guy that wants to be a future superstar. And Joe, it comes to hunger. It comes to hunger, to competitive, the competitive will, to finish strong. You know what I mean, Joe? And to me, when you're a baby like that guy, his dad, this guy never had to worry about his next meal. His daddy always took care of him, always pampered him and everything, Joe. Okay. Fighters like that, me personally, Joe, when you're pampered and where you're, and you live in luxury all your life, man, let me tell you, man, deep down, you don't have that hunger like a real poor fighter that will bite down and come back and battle back. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say.
Indeed. Well, okay, so we go back to the final seconds of the 10th round, right?
Yeah.
And that's when, they're in the pocket. You hear the bell ring. Linares is already throwing in combination, cracks Devin Haney in the chops. You see him walking on feathers back to the corner. Linares recognizes it. Then you hear between the round, Devin Haney sitting in the corner. Bill Haney starts freaking out, kind of panicking, not doing anything to diffuse the situation. Gogue, right then and there, that told me, okay,
amateur.
Yep, it was amateur hour, brother. And so, did it surprise you at all?
Nah, Joe, when you got a dad working the corner, and they never went through a battle where they experienced adversity, they're gonna freak out. It happens all the fucking time. I see it all the time. Yep. When their son gets hurt in a fight, man, it's their natural reaction, like just to freak out, like, oh my God, you know what I mean? It didn't surprise me one bit, man. You know what I mean? A veteran trainer would have took control of the ship, okay? Helped them, it's all right. You're hurt, no big deal. Take a few deep breaths. Help him to recover, what I'm trying to say. Yep. That's the first thing I would have did, Joe. I would have sat his ass down. I wouldn't even gave him no instructions. I would have poured water on his head, ice or whatever, that ice pack, rubbed it all over his face just to get him, just to wake him up again. Yep. And say, hey, because if you're in tip-top shape, Joe, you should snap out of it. You should recover fast, okay? Yep. All right? If you're in shape, you should recover fast. And that's the first thing I would have did. And then, with like 20 seconds left in the round, I said, hey, look, don't worry about that last round. Let's go take control and win this round, all right? Now, the first thing I would have said is, hey, if you still, your head is still, buzzing, just box him, relax, box him for the first minute or so, okay? Just to get your legs back, just to clear your head. Then, once you clear your head, once you get your senses back, then go after him. Take control. Establish that jab again, okay? That's what I would have told him, man. You know what I mean? Dominate the round, but not in the first half of the round, because your senses. You might, of course. You might be a little bit buzzed, but let me tell you, Joe, if you're in shape, you should be able to snap out of that in 30 seconds. All right?
That's right.
Now what did he do? He went on survival mode.
Panic.
He went on panic mode. You know what I mean? 11th and the 12th. That didn't look good, man.
No, not at all.
I've been through this shit. When you're in shape, you bounce back, man. Okay? Now, if you get hurt, the guy's going to come out. The guys usually, Linares let him off the hook. He should have came out there.
Oh, boy. We're going to talk about that in a second, Gogue. I'm pissed about that.
Yeah, but let me tell you, Joe.
Uh-huh.
He should have came out guns blazing, but he didn't.
That's right. Yep.
And it let Haney recover. And, and he didn't do shit. He fought more on fear. Yep. He fought more on fear. And just, hey, man, goddamn, I'm winning this fight. Let's just get the hell out of here, man. You know what I mean?
You know what, Gogue? That really, I was really shocked because a veteran like Jorge Linares, an offensive-minded veteran like Jorge Linares, when he smells blood in the water, okay, he puts his foot on the gas and tries to close the show. It was obvious as soon as the opening bell for round 11 rang, Haney still had panic all over his face. In your opinion, why didn't Jorge Linares go for the kill?
Hell, I don't know, Joe. He's a veteran. He should have known that. He let him off the hook. Who knows? I don't know what's going in his mind, man. I mean, come on, man. When you hurt a guy the round prior, you take it to him, especially at the end of the round. He ain't got enough time to recover, sometimes. So, but he was just too cautious to let this guy off the hook. And,
Shocked what I mean? The hell out of me.
And me personally, Joe, if he would have put the pedal to the metal, I don't think this kid would have had the, the resiliency to survive. And
I don't think so either. Gogue.
Nah, Joe, it comes down to, man, look, man, this guy's been pampered all his life. Daddy's lived in, upper middle class or upper class, a lifestyle, man. Come on, man. Does that sound like a fighter who's hungry? Does that sound like a fighter that has that mental toughness, that resiliency in him to battle back when he gets hurt?
Historically, no.
Nah. I've never seen one. I've never seen a kid that, that's been pampered, that's been, taking care of all his life, that's been given everything to him. You know what I mean? Yeah, the kid works hard in this and that, but Hell, man, he's never had to worry about his next meal. He never lived in poverty. You know what I mean? It's a different type of hunger, man. That's what
That's
I'm
right.
trying to say. I know. I lived in Colombia, man. I know what hunger is. I see them guys, man. You know what I mean? When they're, lucky to get 2 meals a day.
Indeed. Indeed. Yeah, it's a different world, Gogue. But
Yeah.
yeah, that really shocked the hell out of me. And I'm still trying to figure it out. Is it because he had already taken some punishment from Devin Haney? Is it because maybe he was 35 years old? It's a championship rounds? Because I'm still scratching my head about that. Why wouldn't Jorge Linares go for broke and because of the way they ended the 10th round and he motioned to his corner, he knew he was hurt.
Hey, Joe, it comes like this, man. You know, as an amateur trainer and his brother, okay?
And there it is.
I would have said, hey, man, let's go knock this motherfucker out now, okay? This guy's hurt. Take it to him. We're losing this fight. I would have said, hey, we're if you don't stop his ass, we're not going to win. And there was no, I don't know. I can't remember what his brother said between rounds, but to me, there would have been a high degree of sense of urgency and everything.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
There was none. There was no sense of urgency in the corner. There was no sense of urgency during the 11th and 12th round. In my opinion, Devin Haney got an early Christmas present from Jorge Linares to end the fight. And Gogue, it's obvious, even when you saw Devin Haney's legs and his body recover, in rounds 11 and 12, he never mentally recovered from getting hurt for the first time in his professional career.
No.
Do you think this is going to have a lingering effect from this point forward? How do you see Devin Haney recovering from this?
Well, he experienced some adversity, okay?
Yep.
And when you experience some adversity and you survive it, it usually makes you a better fighter. But we'll see, okay? Okay, Joe, we'll see.
Yeah, because it's funny, and a lot of people are comparing this to when Ryan Garcia got knocked down by the British fighter Luke Campbell earlier this year in January. And we all saw how Ryan Garcia responded. He got up, dusted himself off. As soon as he got his legs and his wits underneath him, he started taking it right back to Luke Campbell. This was the polar opposite, Gogue. So that's one of the reasons why, there are a lot of fans and a lot of ringside journalists who are really criticizing Devin Haney right now. Is the criticism warranted? Why or why not, my friend?
Yeah, it's warranted. Come on, man. They're, the way they're pumping up that guy like he's the next Floyd Mayweather, the next big superstar in the business. When when you're held as the next great thing in boxing, you don't finish a fight like that, okay, Joe? You're supposed to close a fucking show like Sugar Ray Leonard did against Tommy Hearns, okay? That the first time they fought, he closed the fucking show. You know what I mean? That's what I mean, Joe. Great. If you want to be great, you gotta prove you're great. You gotta show you're great. And to me, he had, what do you call it? The 11th and 12th round. He had the opportunity to close his show to be great, but he was more into surviving and getting the hell out of there.
Indeed.
That comes from, like I said, Joe, man, they got his dad training him, inexperienced, he's never been through this shit, you know what I mean? And then the kid, his first time, experiencing any type of adversity, he probably never even got stunned in the sparring session. That's why they freaked out. You know what I mean? He probably never got hurt in a amateur fight or sparring session or a professional round. So when that happened, you know what I mean? I've seen it all the time. Daddies, oh my God, they panic like hell, man. You know what I mean? If they're not experienced enough, knowing how to take over the ship like a captain and guide them through the rough waters ahead. You understand, Joe?
Of course. Yeah. Kenny Weldon, God rest his soul, told me that this was going to be a big problem and was already starting to be a huge problem at the amateur level as well as the pros. And he said, you know what, Joseph? Parents do not allow the experts to train their children. For some reason, you put a couple mitts on them, you put a towel over the shoulder, all of a sudden they think they're world-class trainers. Do you think this is a problem for Devin Haney and his progression and growth, that you think Bill Haney needs to just completely let the adults handle Devin Haney's career in terms of training, improving his overall skill set as a fighter, his mental maturity? Do you think it's time that Bill Haney steps away from that process? Because when you look at how many different trainers Devin Haney's had over his, something tells me, Gogue, that it's because Bill Haney is too intrusive and too hands-on. Your thoughts on this and your experience dealing with this issue?
Man, he's hands-on, man. He wants total control over everything, okay? And sometimes when that happens, Joe, it only affects the son. Sometimes in a positive way, sometimes in a negative way and everything. But, Joe, like I said, he's been with his son all his life and everything. And, they're learning and growing together in the sport and everything. But, I'm to the point where I know, man, I've been around daddies like him, man, that are, control freaks, you know what I mean? Yep. They think they know it all, man, you know what I mean? They never trained a fucking fighter in their life, and all of a sudden they're gonna, or they never done this shit before in their life, and all of a sudden they think they could do it, man. No, God, I see it all the time, Joe. It still goes on. These daddies, they ain't got no business training their kid, man, and sometimes, you got a kid who's very exceptionally talented. He'll overcome their daddy's defaults. Okay, like what do you call it? Felix Tito Trinidad.
Yep.
Yeah, his son. He was superbly talented.
Yep.
How you gonna fuck that up? Okay. Floyd trained his son, but Floyd was a real trainer, a real teacher. Okay.
Yep. So, indeed.
But sometimes you have a father has a son who's, Danny Garcia and his dad. That's a perfect example. Okay. Yep. So Sean Porter and his dad, Sean's dad does a good job with him. And I've seen improvements over time. So, you know what I mean?
Indeed.
They grew together. Yeah. So,
well, I noticed though that Kenny is very good at, he knows a lot of people in the industry, and I know he lets guys like Barry Hunter instruct his son, and that's been a huge influence in developing Sean Porter as an amateur as well as a professional. Yeah. In my opinion, I don't see Bill Haney being that diplomatic. I see him being kind of a big pain in the ass here. And in my opinion, in order for Devin Haney to get to that next level, Bill Haney needs to step away. I'm truly convinced of this because, I'm sorry, but if Mike McCallum is in that corner on Saturday, he doesn't go through the same trials that he did with Bill Haney and Ben Davison.
Well, Joe, like I said, that's for them to do. They got a lot of soul searching to do. Okay.
So. Indeed. With that said, though, and guys, so Devin Haney hugs his way to the finish line, wins a 12-round unanimous decision with scores of 116-112 twice and 115-113. Gogue, it's going to be really interesting to see. Well, his mandatory is going to be the winner of Javier Fortuna versus Jojo Diaz. Gogue, do you expect, after seeing the way Devin Haney struggled at the end of this fight, how do you see them approaching a fight with the WBC lightweight champion? Do you think they treat him with the amount of respect that everyone's treated him up to this point?
Who, the winner of Fortuna Diaz?
Yep.
Look, man, they're veterans. They know what they got to do when they get in that ring, man. Okay. They experience tough fights, okay? They got a lot more experience than Haney. So Haney might be the more talented fighter, but these guys they're a lot more experienced and everything. Okay, so they'll do it. I don't think they're gonna show this kid any respect and they're gonna be themselves. When it's time to fight, they'll be themselves.
Yeah. So let me ask you, Gogue, and going into this, Haney was considered one of the big four, right? In the lightweight division, Teofimo Lopez, Tank Davis, Ryan Garcia, Vasyl Lomachenko, and Devin Haney. Where would you put Devin Haney now in terms of how would you rank Devin Haney in that mix? Where does he fall?
Oh, Joe. Number one, I'd put Teofimo. Number two, Lomachenko. Then all the other motherfuckers, let them, let them battle it out and figure it out. You know what I mean? I'd have him third or fourth. Yeah. Ryan Garcia, he's got mental issues. So,
Yeah.
Who else is there? Tank Davis is, I don't know. Is he a junior welterweight? Is he a lightweight? I don't know what weight he fights at, so.
Yeah.
He'd be up there at number 3, I think, 3 or 4. Yeah, around there. Number 1 and 2 is Lopez, Lomachenko. Then the other 3, you know what I mean? You could put them, put them where you want. And, there wouldn't be no argument for me.
Yeah, Gogue, I see this fight creating a bunch of problems subsequently, right? Because after looking at a guy, 1 is 35 years old, 2, he's a guy who's been stopped 5 times, 3 times within the first 2 rounds of action. Devin Haney never really hurt him throughout the entire fight, not seriously. And it's become pretty obvious to most ringside observers that Devin Haney lacks world-class power. How difficult is this going to be when facing the elite later on down the road?
Well, it sure helps when you can hit. Like I said, Joe, I would say when you can punch, it makes your game plan so much easier. Okay.
Absolutely. So. Yeah, it's going to be a hard road to hoe. From this point forward, Gogue, there's going to be a lot of growth that's going to happen for Devin Haney to stay undefeated. Either that or some careful matchmaking, brother, at the lightweight division. Now, keep in mind, he's a big 135-pounder, but he doesn't even seem to have world-class power at 35. Gosh, I can't even imagine how it's going to be for him at 40 and then eventually 47. Wow. Without some crack in his shot, good luck. But I tell you what, we've got a question from our brother Vladimir Fonseca. Thank you for joining us, brother. And he says, Coach, do you think that Devin Haney versus Teofimo Lopez is going to happen?
Man, this is the era of nobody wants to fight anybody. Okay, I'll see it when I see it. I'll believe it. These guys, man, all they do is talk, man. You know what I mean? The best don't want to fight the best. If it happens, honestly, I'm just being, how I feel. I'll be shocked. Nobody wants to fight nobody. All right. They call themselves the 4 Queens or the 4 Queens, or something like that. Trying to compare themselves to Leonard, Hagler, Duran, Hearns. Oh, come on. The difference between them guys and these guys is Hearns, Hagler, Leonard, Duran, they fought each other. Okay?
Yep.
These guys, in order to get that rep, you got to fight. You got to battle each other. And these guys let me tell you, man, Lopez, I don't think he's scared. Okay. The other guys, to me, Lomachenko, nah, he'll fight anybody. But the other 3, they're protected, or let's just say they're not too thrilled about stepping into the ring to fight, to face one another. Okay.
Yeah, Gogue, I would have to agree with you, brother. And Vladimir, to add to that, looking at it from the business perspective, right? You're talking about a guy who's been overpaid, Devin Haney, who just made $3 million to face a guy like Jorge Linares. Realistically, how much do you think he's going to demand to step in the ring with the best lightweight in the world right now, Teofimo Lopez? And then you're looking at Teofimo Lopez on the other side of the equation, who's being overpaid right now for a mandatory in George Kambosos Jr., almost earning $4 million for that. So how much do you think he's going to demand to face a guy like Devin Haney, who's another champion? In my opinion, they're going to demand too much, and that fight, as big as it may seem to the diehard boxing community, really doesn't move the needle on the mainstream level. In my opinion, there just isn't enough money for what both kids, and yes, I'm stressing kids, are going to demand for this matchup. It's not going to be made, guys. If they do fight each other, it's going to be further on down the road at 140 pounds, because I can't see this fight being made right now with both guys being as overpaid as they've been. Your final thoughts on this, Gogue, before we move forward, sir?
Joe, the best way to avoid fighting each other is to overprice yourself in boxing.
Price themselves out. Classic.
Yeah. Ask for too much money when the money ain't there. That's the best way to kill a fight, and that's what these guys are going to do. Fuck them. You know what I mean? I'm good with it.
I tell you what, let me ask you something, Gogue, before we move on, because it's another question I was asked to, bring up to you when we went on the air. Can Devin Haney defeat any of the lead at 135? Do you think he defeats Teofimo, Tank, Ryan, or Lomachenko? And who does he have the best chance against? Thank you, brother, for asking that question for Coach Gogue. What are your thoughts on that, brother?
If he don't get caught, by that left hook of Ryan Garcia, I think he has a very good chance of beating Ryan Garcia. Okay.
Indeed.
Yeah, I think, to me, he's the weak link out of everybody. You know, he can punch. He's strong. He can punch. You know what I mean? And he's explosive. You know what I mean? And so I think that'd be the guy he could beat and everything, as long as he don't get caught by that left hook and everything.
Well, that's a lot easier said than done. Just ask Luke Campbell. But yeah, I'm in agreement with you, because Ryan Garcia, although it's what a trick it is, he's a one-trick pony. You look at guys like Tank Davis, deep amateur pedigree, great skill set, and that is career-changing power that he possesses. And then you look at Teofimo Lopez's overall skill set, athleticism, shocking explosive power. And then you look at Vasyl Lomachenko, probably the best inside fighter in the game right now. His ability to move in and out of range, fight effectively once inside, pivot around you to force you to reset. He's something to behold. Yeah, I see Devin Haney having serious issues with all of those guys, Gogue. Yeah. So,
well, you know what, Joe?
Yes, sir.
You know what, Joe? That's his problem, not mine.
Well, I tell you what, congratulations to Devin Haney for getting the unanimous decision in 12. It's going to be interesting to see, one, where he goes from here, two, how much his opponent, gives him, what kind of respect that he gives him. It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, yeah. And I'm sorry, unfortunately, Mr. Haney, because you carry that WBC lightweight title, your learning curve is very short. Now, you're a champion now, brother. You're not just a prospect.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting. But, guys, let's move on. Let's go to Showtime, in which Nonito Donaire turns back the clock and wins an awesome fourth-round KO over incumbent WBC title holder at 118 pounds. Nordine Oubaali closes the show in style at his home away from home in Carson, California. Gogue, I'll tell you what were your thoughts going into this fight? Because we really didn't talk about this or cover this. Were you expecting a Nonito Donaire that showed up this past Saturday night?
I thought it would be a tougher fight. Hey, Joe, like I said, when you get, 38, 39, 40, come on, man. You're not in your prime. And any fight could be your last fight, okay?
Indeed.
And this Oubaali, he's a good slick boxer, okay? He's intelligent. He moves well. He's a good counter puncher, okay? And he could pop. So I thought it would be a honestly, Joe, I thought it'd be a lot tougher fighter. And the way Donaire handled him, man, I was like, God, he truly put on a Hall of Fame performance. He destroyed him. Of course, that his bread and butter, check hook was there, that left hook, but that left uppercut that he added, oh my God, that pretty much put the nails in the coffin. Okay, every time he hit him with that left uppercut, Bali never seen it coming. Look, Joe, like I always say, a combination that works good when you fight a southpaw is that left hook and the left uppercut, or the right hand, left uppercut, because it comes from angles they don't see coming. They're not used to seeing coming. And boy, did he land. It was beautiful. That left uppercut, that left hook got him going, but that left uppercut, what do you call it? It put the nails in the coffin. Yeah, indeed. But it was a great win for Nonito. Yeah. I thought it'd be a lot tougher fight. He's 38 years old, Joe. I'm going by the odds, okay? When you usually get that age, any fight could be your last fight, okay?
That's right.
So, but man, he just like turned back time and everything, and fought like he was like 25 years old, explosive, fast. Well, he's got the brain, he's got the experience and the ring IQ, and you know what I mean, to fight any style out there and everything. But he's 38, okay? But geez, the way he was moving in there, oh man, like he didn't miss a beat. Spectacular win, and that's how you're supposed to look, Devin Haney. Okay, watch the Nonito Donaire fight. That's how you're supposed to look if you want to be, if you don't want to be criticized by everybody and you want to be considered a next superstar in the business. Nonito Donaire was 38 years old.
38 years old. Yep.
16 years older than Devin. Come on, man. Yeah, but yeah, it was just like I said, it was just another, what do you call it, achievement in his long glorious career and everything, man. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, I was excited, man. I was happy for him.
Yeah, it was and once again, like I said, we've known these guys for a very long time, since Nonito was a young man, and just to see him go through this and him be appreciated, for what he did at the StubHub, well, the old StubHub Center, now it's Dignity Health Park, right, in Carson. Just to see him get appreciated like that from the fans and everyone in attendance, boy, I tell you what, it couldn't have happened to a better guy. Nonito and Rachel are two of the best people that you'll meet in this business. I was so happy for them. But I tell you what, Gogue, it's funny. Do you think that Nonito is having kind of this resurgence in his career because he's having to work his ass off at age 38 to make 118?
Joe, it all comes down to what do you do between fights to take care of your body, okay? I'm pretty damn sure, he's still training between fights. He's still eating the right foods and everything, you know what I mean? Look how long look how long Bernard Hopkins lasted in the business, through discipline, good nutrition, being dedicated to his craft 24/7, 365 days a year, okay? All right, fights done, he's back in the gym 3 days, 4 days later. You know what I mean? That increases your longevity in this sport. It's the dumb shits that, once they get done with fighting, you don't see them in the gym for 3 or 4 months and they blow up 40 to 50 pounds between fights. Okay? Yeah, I don't need to call out names. You know who they are. And guys like that don't have a long career. Because look, Joe, it's all about karma. You get out of this sport what you put into it. The more dedicated, the more discipline you put into the sport, God's going to reward you. And you know what I mean? It's that simple, but it's simple, but not easy. Okay. Because it's hard to live the Spartan lifestyle 24/7, 365. Okay. 365 days a year. Hopkins was a rare animal, boy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I've seen it firsthand. I've been in the gym with him, man. He's a rare animal, man. So, but anyway, yeah. I really believe Nonito took care of his body. He didn't fight since that Inoue fight, so he had plenty of time to recover.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, Joe. Another thing is when you're older like this, you don't need to fight all those fights that are gonna make your career shorter. You could take a little 1.5 year break and come back and fight and be rejuvenated. I found that out, working with guys. You know what I mean? So older guys. When I found out I was working older guys. Yeah.
Indeed. Well, I tell you what, congratulations to Nonito getting the knockout in the 4th round and becoming once again the WBC bantamweight champion at 118 pounds. Tell you what, he is circling the calendar and he's looking forward to hopefully getting another crack at the monster at 118, Naoya Inoue. Gogue, that was Fight of the Year 2019. Are you looking at another Fight of the Year possibly at the tail end of this year?
Man, yeah, that'd be a hell of the rematch is warranted, Joe. Okay? Yep. And Donaire, I'm pretty sure he learned something from that fight, okay? To correct his mistakes and everything, okay? But yeah, that would be a hell of a fight, Joe. That would, I think the fight will be more competitive, I think, because Nonito, I think that experience he had with Inoue made him a better fighter, and I think he learned something. Plus, he he fought Inoue. He knows how, he knows what he does. He's used to it. He's accustomed to his style, his rhythm. You know what I mean? And he's accustomed to what Inoue does in the ring and everything. He's got that familiarity. That's what I'm trying to say, Joe. He'll make better adjustments in the rematch because his familiarity with him.
Indeed. Well, I tell you what, I meant to ask you, how did you feel about Mike Basil and Rachel Donaire being in the corner as chief second for Nonito?
I thought the dad trained him. The dad wasn't there?
No, it was Mike Basil and his wife, Rachel Donaire.
Come on, man. It's like Nonito knows how to fight. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Of course.
Mike's the cut man and everything, okay? No, Rachel's the one that probably trained him. Yep.
No,
they got it. They watched the fights together. They got the game plan together. And hell, man, Nonito knows how to fight. You know what I mean? So
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what she was saying post-fight. She was saying they watched film together. They came up with the strategy, and yeah, it worked out perfectly for them. So congratulations to both of them. The dynamic duo of boxing. I'll tell you what, we've got a question right here from Mohammed, who's joining us. We're going to take a back step once again to Haney. He says, salute Joseph and Gogue, the dream team. God bless you, Mohammed. Thank you, brother. Says, do you think Haney can find a style of fighting in which he avoids taking big shots?
Look,
Gogue,
man,
go ahead, sir.
He can still fight that type of style of fighting. He just got to work on his defense, okay? It's hard to explain and everything, but he just got to work on his defense, okay? Especially at close range when he gets in the pocket, okay? He doesn't have good defensive skills when he's in range, when his opponent's in range and everything. I would work more on, the way he's athletic and the way he moves. Hell, I do a lot of work on a lot of shoulder roll techniques, roll and counter. He don't do that. He's got the ability to do it, Joe. When you got a guy that likes to keep his left hand low and who's athletic, got good reflexes and all that, I'd implement that shoulder roll defensive style.
He's got the reflexes. Yep.
Yeah, he's got the reflexes. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. When you're athletic and you got reflexes, you could do that shoulder roll, man. Okay, trust me, you could do that shoulder roll. But he don't know how to do it. Okay, and he gets hit a lot. With a lot of return fire. If you look at James Toney, okay, he's an offensive fighter, but he's also a great defensive fighter because he has great shoulder roll skill, great shoulder roll technique on making you miss after return fire. On the return fire, when your opponent's trying to return fire, he has the ability to make you miss with great shoulder roll skills. upper body agility, moving his head up and down. Okay, Floyd Mayweather is a perfect example. This kid doesn't do that. He's still, he throws his punches. Sometimes he'll slip under him and everything, but he doesn't have that ability to, the roll with the shoulders, block punches with his shoulder, or he doesn't have that. What do you call it? He needs to work on that head and upper body movement. You know what I mean? To move his head and upper body faster, to avoid those counters and cross block. You know what I mean? Like Riddick Bowe used to do, Holyfield. All the old time trainers used to teach that. Taking your right hand, open it up like a catcher's mitt, and bringing it across the left side of your face and catching those return punches. You know what I mean? It's called cross blocking. Riddick Bowe's good at that. Georgie Benton used to teach all his fighters that. He don't have them skills, Joe. Okay, I never seen him block one punch with that cross block technique. You know what I mean? Where you're opening, like I said, when you're opening up your hand, just sliding it across the left side of your face and catching the return fire. All those defensive skills, he should be working on, and also, keeping his hands, keeping his hands up when he's done on the offenses. When he's done on the offenses, you're bringing his hands up by his face. Okay, has insurance and everything, so you don't get hit flush with those punches. And another thing, Joe, he's got great reflexes. He's got to learn how to roll with those punches. Just turning. That's right. Turning your head like this when you get hit with a shot, just roll with it.
Yep.
Just roll with it. Like Roberto Duran was beautiful.
Yep.
Orlando Canizales was beautiful. When you hit him, he'll just roll with a punch. Canelo's good at that.
Canelo's getting very good at that. Absolutely.
Rolls with a punch. Duran, Canizales. Oh, they were some of the best, man. He's got, stuff like that, Joe. The cross blocking, the shoulder roll technique, the rolling with the punch, like Duran, like Canizales. Stuff like that will prevent you, from taking the full impact of your opponent's punches. Okay, when he returns fire. Little things like that, Joe. Man, let me tell you, I can train Haney with a Sunday morning hangover. Okay, teach him all this. When you got a talented kid like that, when you got a talented kid that's blessed with athleticism, reflexes. Yeah, that's the stuff I would do to improve him as a defensive fighter. Offensively, he's great. His jab is beautiful. He's very educated. Is it Muhammad?
Yeah, Muhammad. That's
Muhammad.
Right.
He's very educated on using his jab. He knows how to use it up and down. He knows how to work his feints beautiful. He knows how to set up his combinations behind his jab. His problem is the return fire. Okay?
Yep, that's it.
If you improve his defensive skills, okay, by, the shoulder roll skills, the cross blocking like Riddick Bowe or Vander Holyfield, or what do you call it, Joe? The rolling with the punches, like Roberto Duran, Canelo, Canizales, little stuff like that. And other things you can add too, Joe. The thing is, I have to be in the gym with him, and I have to something would click in my head. Hey, let's work on this to make your defense better. Let's work on this. And all that.
I tell you what, Gogue, you are an absolute pro at teaching the lost art of fighting and defending yourself on the inside. Maybe, perhaps, it might be appropriate to set up a meeting between you and loudmouth Bill Haney.
Nah, not interested. Nah.
And there it is. But I tell you what, Gogue, also, if they're going to pick up those and add those new wrinkles to Haney's fight game, sorry, and no offense to the talented British young trainer, but they're not going to get it by working with Ben Davison. I'm sorry.
Look, man, Ben Davison only gets fighters that he only gets fighters that are world champions that can fight. He to develop skills like that, it takes a while, man. It takes an experienced trainer, okay, to know how to develop them skill sets and everything, man. You know what I mean? And to me, when you get a world champion and everything, or you know what I mean?
Yep.
They're easy to train. Haney would be easy to train if
indeed.
seems like a guy that works hard. He listens and everything. So you could implement these defensive tactics, these defensive skills to make him a better fighter, Joe. And guess what? Once he learns how to improve his defense, it's going to make his fight so much easier. And guess what? He'll learn how to relax more, and he'll be able to finish these rounds and go a hard 12 rounds. Okay.
That's right. I tell you what, it's he has to learn how to relax, stay calm, because nothing, I don't care how well conditioned you are, nothing saps your energy like anxiety in the ring, Gogue.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But I
that's
tell you
the
what,
number one rule, Joe, I have in boxing. I don't give a shit if you're training, you're running, you're doing your whatever, strength training, shadow boxing, sparring. You got to relax. That's number one rule. That's my number one rule. Relax. When you're running, and if you're tight, you're going to get tired fast. You got to stay loose. Relax. It's a marathon, okay? If you're training, shadow boxing, hitting the heavy bag, the mitts, sparring, you got to train your mind. It's mental, Joe. You got to have that mindset. Relax. When you start getting tight, relax, okay? Smile.
Indeed.
That's the best. That's the way the best. When you're feeling tight, the number one way to unravel your tightness, your tense, being tense is smile. Just smile. And that'll loosen all that. That'll loosen all that tension in you.
Well, it's funny, and because admittedly, Emmanuel Stewart told me that Lennox Lewis used to suffer from anxiety before fights, and what he would have Lennox do before every single major fight, he would have him crank up in a boombox in the locker room his favorite song, and he used to dance with him in the locker room to get him
to loosen him up
and to get him relaxed. That's right. Yep.
Get him laughing. Get him feeling good. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So there are several things that you can actually do to help your fighter's mentality going into a big fight. But I tell you what, I want to do, give a shout out real quick to Michael from Iron Fist Boxing. Thank you for joining us, brother. God bless you. It's good to see you. And also, I would be remiss if I didn't give a shout out to my brother, Corey Bradshaw from IOTBA. It's good of you to join us, my friend. It's good to work with you on thefightsaga.com. Well, we have one final question, Gogue, and boy, this isn't your favorite topic, but we've almost been on the air for an entire hour. We know you're busy, and we know you have to get to your high-altitude facility in Leon, Mexico right now. One final question from Mohammed says, Coach, do you think the changers Wilder is making will pay off? Is Fury being too confident that Wilder won't find a delivery system for the bomb in his big right hand when they have the rematch or the third fight on July 24th? Your thoughts?
All them fancy YouTube videos don't mean shit. Once he gets dropped and gets hurt by Fury again, he's gonna forget everything Malik Scott's been teaching him and everything. Okay, Joe, I don't go off that phony baloney YouTube videos and mitt work and all that crap, man. You know what I mean? It takes, now Wilder could punch, okay? Oh, that son of a bitch can. Oh my God, don't count him out. I'm not. Nope. When you can punch like Wilder, you're always dangerous. But I'm going by, experience. When he gets hit by Fury's right hand or gets dropped, he'll forget everything he'll know. Okay, and he'll go back to the old Deontay Wilder. And guess what? It might be a faster fight this time around for Wilder and everything.
Yep. I tell you what. Let me ask you though, Gogue. I mean, when you look at the skill disparity between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, yeah, it seems like a no-brainer that Tyson Fury is the obvious favorite. But in your experience in the heavyweight division, do you think it's possible that Tyson Fury can beat a guy with the attributes of Deontay Wilder 3 times consecutively?
Oh, Joe. Never, like I said, I never count Deontay Wilder out because the son of a bitch can punch with that right hand. Okay, don't disrespect his power. Okay, he still can hurt you. All right, I learned that. I learned that in boxing. But skill wise, boxing IQs wise, experience, Tyson is light years ahead of that amateur Wilder and everything, man. And you're going to try to tell me one camp with Malik Scott is going to make him a better fighter? You know what I mean?
Well, I'll tell you what, guys, it happens on July 24th in the new Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada, home of your Las Vegas Raiders. Can you believe we're saying the Las Vegas Raiders?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. What the hell is this world coming to? But, guys, that's going to just about do it. I want to allow Mohammed to let off one more comment. He says Teofimo versus Devin will happen. Let's hope so, brother. Lopez will no longer fight for anything less than 3 or 4 millions, and I'm sure Hearn will offer him 5 or 6 to fight Haney on DAZN. Let's hope all parties agree, because that's a great fight. Let's hope it happens this year. And Mr. IOTBA says, is Bill Haney holding Devin back? Correa, we already addressed that in the first half of the show. So in case you missed it, well, you can always check out the replay.
Look, Joe, let me say something, man.
Yes, sir.
Haney's been through so many coaches. Jesus criminy, man. I mean, come on, man. One coach after there. You know, what's his name? Bill Haney's like the flavor of the day. Who's the flavor of the day for the new coach to train my son? Come on, man. Stick with the fucking coach that's going to get your son better. Hey, then they'll get better over time, man. But him switching coach to coach to coach, oh man, jeez. Not when a kid's learning. Not when a kid's learning his craft. Okay, there's got to be more stability and everything. But like I said, man, you know, they could run their business the way they want. They're making a lot of money, so hey, God bless them.
Guys, and Gogue has spoken. I tell you what, we're past an hour. We do have to let Gogue. Hey, Gogue, thank you so much for devoting this hour to War Week Radio. We really appreciate it. Do you have any parting shots for our listening audience, my friend?
Oh, no. June, I don't know. There's some good fights coming up in June, so, you know, just stay tuned and everything. May was a good month for boxing.
I'm sorry.
June,
you know what, Gogue? I almost forgot, man. I wanted to ask your opinion. June 5th, this Saturday, the return of Daniel Dubois fighting Bogdan Dinu in your 12-round main event on ESPN. It's going to be held for the vacant WBA interim heavyweight title coming off of a knockout loss. What are your thoughts on the return of Daniel Dubois, and what do you expect to see?
Grow some balls, okay? That's all. He quit like a dog his last fight. All right? That's a fighter that showed me he ain't got no resilience in him, okay? He ain't got that mental intestinal fortitude to grind, okay, to bite down when a fight gets tough. He quit. I don't give a shit. What is it? Orbital. I broke my orbital pocket. Every time a fighter gets a bruised eye and their eye starts closing, that's the first thing they said. Oh, I broke my orbital bone socket. I never heard that shit before in my life since I've been in this shit until, just last couple years recently. Now they're using it as an excuse. Once they're losing, vision in that eye because, their eye swells up, they start panicking, Joe. That's what it is. But anyway, man, yeah, I could, I had high hopes for that guy. I had high hopes, but guess what, Joe? I had high hopes, but I always use this rule nowadays with these fighters. Let me see them taste some adversity and how they handle adversity. Then I'll believe more in them. All right.
Indeed. Well, we just found out, how Devin Haney handles adversity this past Saturday. And boy, it's going to be interesting to see how he fares in his next fight later this year. But that's going to just about do it. Gogue, we want to thank you for joining us for the entire hour. Guys, in case you missed any part of the show, you can check it out. And please subscribe to War Week Radio on YouTube. But guys, on behalf of Maestro James Gogue, I'm Joseph Herron. You've been listening to War Week Radio. Have a great evening, everybody.